Alright, I'm going to do a little video right now. This is showing what I have changed and altered in the game. If you want to use my files, you can. Basically what this is going to do is it's going to alter some things, change some things, and I'm going to explain what I did. Right here is a little bitty setup that I got with some vault doors, some other stuff. For example, I'll just go ahead and put a couple of these up real quick. Yeah, I should have had all this ready, but and we're gonna put up a couple of these. And what these are here is these are the different stages, as you can see. And let me go ahead and do this because it's getting dark of some sort, I think. Yeah, it's 1600, so let me change. Did I not go in DM mode? Okay, debug mode on. Alright. So basically what I want to do here is I'm going to set the time back. Give me some light in here. Okay. Now, what we see here is we see the different stages. Stage 1, boarded stage 2, stage 3 with scrap iron. I've actually added this jail cell into the recipe. For this demonstration, I have got a 46 quality wrench and a 597 quality wrench, as well as a 547 quality pickaxe. And a couple of things I've been altering because I feel it makes things better. These are iron bars. Of course, we have the vault door. We have the regular door, and this works for any of the vault doors, any one of these iron doors, any one of these vault hatches. And I need to go ahead and put a couple of these in because I took these out as well in testing, so let me put some of these back up. So basically we got scrap vault hatch, and let's see, there's stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3, which is with more scrap on it. So we got one of these doors, we got a vault door, we got these hatches, there's another different vault door, another one of these regular doors. Get that out of the way. And we got the jail cell. So in the recipe you can build a jail cell. I've changed a couple of things to make the game better in my own opinion. Of course, I got the 3 different vault doors here, which we got one with scrap, first stage, second stage, third stage, so forth. Alright, before we get to all this, one thing, trees won't have an animation if they have a loot box. I don't like the idea of bird nests being all over the ground. For one, it's just another object for the game to have to generate, draw polys for and everything else, and it can bring the hindrance down on your machine. So for people who have a lower end machine, this would be a plus to help out in drawing some of the polys on the screen and vertices and stuff like that. Every tree except for small little bushes, little bush trees, bunch of dead trees, you ain't gonna see this, but trees like this, when you actually come out here, you would expect to find a bird nest. Because I turned these into a container and it's not coded in the actual code for the container to have an animation, a fall animation, what this does is it kills the tree's fall animation. So the tree, when you chop it down, it cannot fall. My pickaxe here. I mean my fire axe. Okay, so basically I'm gonna chop this down. On the ground, we just dropped some feathers. As you can see, we got more feathers. But that ain't the only way. You can actually go up to the tree. You don't have to chop it down to get the feathers, but you can. Instead of the bird nest on the ground, which bird nest will exist in prefabs and everything, because they would be built on, birds will build nests on top of rooftops and attics and so forth, and inside little places they can get in through a busted window or whatever, just like they have. Those will still be in the game like they are, but as far as them generating on the ground, I removed them. And basically I put them in a tree. So you can loot each tree, you can find feathers and stuff. You ain't got to stare at the ground 24/7 anymore, because that's just unrealistic. In real life, birds don't make nests all over the ground so predators can take their young and all. They always build in trees high up or in attics, you know, away from predators. So it just made it unrealistic for me, and so I did this. In the process, whenever you chop this tree down, it just vanishes. There's no more fall animation, because deep in the code, you know, it would have to be put in where the tree would have to, there'd have to be more code added to where the tree can fall and not be acting exactly like a container, but still be a container. But as far as XML changing, that's how we can do it in XML. Even though I lose the animation of the trees falling, I can just run to trees. I know I have a chance to find feathers and eggs in there. So I just click and loot the tree, and then I can chop it down if I feel like it. Alright, now on to this stage. This right here, what I done was, unrealistically, mechanical parts need to be in a lot of different things. So I added mechanical parts to a lot of different things that would actually have mechanical parts in it. I also removed the ability to wrench up the workbench, the mixer, and the chemistry table. I think it's more challenging if you have to find the parts to build it and can't just wrench it up. Now if they change it, you know, if the fun pimps like this type of stuff right here and they think it would follow their game flow, then, you know, by all means add it at will. But, you know, I don't know what their feeling is about, you know, being able to wrench up a table. They'd have to code in probably something that says once you build it, your name's tagged to it, and the person whose name's tagged to it can wrench it up, or an ally can wrench it up, blah blah blah, so forth like that. Stuff like that would have to be added to the code in order to make it personal type of item. But anyway, jail cell, I added this so you can build this with a workbench, because it hadn't been added to the recipe yet. But what I did with the wrench is, and of course for this purpose I have used DM mode, and I put in a bunch of skills, so it goes faster than what you're going to see if you are starting out with skills. So like I got, you know, max stamina regen, then I got max construction tools for the wrench purpose of disassembling things, and let's see what else I did. Minor 69er I put up to level 5 just for this purpose. Okay, what this does is, one thing I did is I added the ability to wrench the iron bars so you can take them apart. You only get scrap. I increased the damage of ×2 of the wrench. What its original damage is was 2, and I put it at 4. Specifically because even at max level, when you try to wrench a vault door or a vault hatch, it goes kind of slow. You're better off using a pickaxe to smash the hell out of it. But also, these things should have mechanical parts on them. So because they should have like hinges and stuff like that, which would be mechanical parts, I added mechanical parts to it for purpose of finding mechanical parts. You have to, in the recipe list, you'd have to have mechanical parts to actually build these too. So in order to get mechanical parts, you get you a wrench. You start wrenching doors, metal doors, hatches. Even the wooden hatches should have mechanical parts for like the hinges and stuff like that, and the latches that latch them. So I would say mechanical parts. So I added mechanical parts to each one of these hatches. Every hatch has mechanical parts. Every door has mechanical parts except for wooden doors. I didn't put that in yet. If people like that, then I can add that later. But as far as all metal doors and stuff, even commercial doors, which I don't have a commercial door up, believe it or not. Let me get one in here real quick. just so I can prove what I'm doing here. I'll put in a couple of these, the different stages here. So we'll put one there, and we'll put one of these right there. Okay, so basically, where did my little, okay, I got it right there. So I'm going to take the little wrench first, the lower quality one, even though my skills are high. So basically what you do is when you wrench this, you're going to start getting parts off of it. You can either use a pickaxe like you normally did, or you can use a wrench. And if you look on the bottom right, you're going to see I'm wrenching parts and scrap off of these pieces. And you have a chance to get, based on what goes into making these items, you have a chance to get those parts off. So like these doors take forged iron. You have a chance of getting forged iron as you disassemble the door. As you can see, it's a lot slower than if I take this pickaxe and just demolish this door. But with this low wrench, as you can see, 979, 938, but if I take a higher quality wrench, it goes down in like the hundreds. And that's because my skills are maxed up. But basically, as I wrench this door, I have a chance of getting forged iron and mechanical parts. So I'm going to wrench this door part. There's mechanical parts and forged iron, as you can see. The same thing goes for these. When I'm on this stage, I'm going to get wood and a chance for forged metal, and because that's what what went into making this door. So that's what I'm giving you the chance to get back. So we can wrench these doors apart. We can wrench these vault doors apart. Getting scrap metal, chance for those have a chance to get springs because springs went into making it. They also have a chance of getting forged steel because forged steel went into making them. Of course, I let you wrench bars apart, but you're only going to get scrap iron because that's all that went in besides clay to make them. The wood, same thing. Wood, you're going to get wood. This stage of wood, you're going to get wood. And maybe mechanical parts. This stage here, mechanical parts, scrap iron, and chance for wood. So you can see we're getting scrap iron. Now we're on to stage 2. So all we're going to get is wood and chance for mechanical parts, as you just saw. It all goes by its stages. Vault door. The gel door. Of course, you're going to get scrap iron and possibly, I think I added forged iron on here, as well as scrap iron and mechanical parts. And I think I might have added pipe to it, I'm not sure. But that's basically what I've done. I've changed this so you can wrench these things, any one of the stages of these doors, to get mechanical parts, to get scrap, and you can do it with a wrench. So if you don't have a high quality pickaxe at the time, but you got a decent wrench, you have a chance of wrenching you some parts while you're there. But that's what I did to all the metal doors, the commercial doors, the iron doors, the vault doors, all the different hatches. And like I said, I added the jail cell into the recipes. And I changed the trees so the trees can be looted as if they had a bird nest in them. So it's basically like you run up to the tree, you search it, and I guess in your mind think you climbed a tree and look for bird nests, but it's simpler. Just find a tree to look for nest rather than on the ground, because on the ground just don't make no sense to me. I mean, I understand the thing, but to me it's just more items in the world that your computer has to generate. And if I can personally snuff something out and put it somewhere else that it makes more sense to be in a tree, but we don't have bird nests in a tree, and that would just be even more polys. It's just easier to turn the tree into a container and run it that way. So if you like this type of stuff, yeah. Also in my files, zombies damage has been turned down. Some people like that. So the infection rates have been lowered, so you have a chance to be smacked on quite a bit before you get a chance of being stunned or infected or so forth like that. I basically lowered the chances because it's just too high of chances when you get in there. Some people like to sit with nothing but guns, but there are people out there that love to use the club. They love the hand-to-hand melee combat, and to me, it's not fair. With a gun, you don't get in close, so you don't get hit. But when you're sitting there and you want to melee, some people love to melee combat and to get stunned every time you turn around, because we all know that these zombies, you can hit them and they can still swing at you. So, it's like you hit them, and instead of them falling back like they should every time, they still play their animation, come in at you, and knock the shit out of you, and then you're infected, you're stunned, and being beat the hell out of. So I decreased the damage a little bit on all the different hand zombie attacks. Other than that, yeah, that's it. If you like this, stuff like this right here, and you want to use this stuff, feel free. I'm not always going to update this stuff, so just, in my XML files, I have comment sections of everything I've added or changed. It'll say Arkonik added right behind the code where I added that piece in. It did not exist, it was put in there. So you can basically use something like Notepad++, and you can open it up, the original file, open up my file, use a plugin called Compare, and compare the two, and it'll split the screen, it'll put both files side by side each other, and you can scroll down and see where the code changed. And you can see the original code, you can see what I've added, Notepad++, plugin, Compare. Remember that? You can start learning how to do some of this stuff yourself if you don't know how. It's not too hard to learn, actually. You just compare. You look at all the XML, the different blocks and stuff like that, and you just compare it with what I've changed, and you can see how simple it was to change a lot of this stuff. But other than that, hope you enjoyed this. This modding, like I said, I won't always keep this stuff up. I'll keep my UI up. I'll explain my UI real quick for those that use it. My UI, which is my mouse right down in here, this is what I added. I used to have the location, which is right here, player's location, and the elevation sitting right here. The problem is the way it had to be done, and I've talked to Prime, one of the developers on the Fun Pimps. He explained to me that whenever it was coded in, when the coder coded it in, this stuff was not separated like some of the other stuff. Like, I can go over here and I can pull all this stuff out of this screen, put it on the front like I did here, and I don't have to have all this connected to it. But when this part right here was coded in, this whole section right here, all this has to be in the code, even though you're not using it, if you're going to put it on the front of the screen. And hopefully in Alpha 16, when I talked to him, he told me that it would that they were going to be doing some changes by Alpha 16 with this, and hopefully they get this fixed so we can call this without having to call all this other stuff. Because right now, when this is anybody that's making a UI that calls this little piece of code right here, they're having to put all this crap right here in there. And basically what they're doing is they're telling this to be put at certain X and Z coordinates on the screen, okay? And the rest of this, they're having to push off the screen. So basically they can give it a X and Z that's not on your screen, and you will look like it's not there, but it's actually there on your screen. This window will always be up. It's just pushed off the side of your screen so you can't see it. And this right here is actually what they're positioning on the screen in a spot that will actually be shown on the screen. And this right here is not the way you code, so I'm not going to put it in. I'm going to remove this until such time that they make it where I can call this function right here without having to add all this other crap in here at the same time. I want to be able to call these functions one piece at a time on any screen, like the front screen here, without having to add stuff that shouldn't be there and throw it off the side of the screen, if you understand what I'm talking about here. You know, it's not the way you code. It can cause performance issues and stuff like that, having a screen up all the time, because everything that your computer has to calculate, you know, it causes computer power. And for people that have lower end PCs, you definitely don't want that. So for now, if you want to lock, you'll have to go into the map as usual as any other, you know, with a standalone, I mean, the default UI, or with my little added UI section right there on the bottom right of the toolbar. But I am removing completely the lock and I can add the elevation. The elevation's no problem, but no one wants the elevation unless they have the lock, so I'm just going to leave both of them out until such time that the Fun Pimp's coded in where I can pull that piece of information out without having to pull every piece of that block of code out in the XML file and add it in there. It was causing some issues in this last patch, and it shouldn't have, because the XML didn't change, but something in the code changed and it started causing some null reference errors. So this new version I'm going to post today along with this video, it will not have those null reference errors. If you've used my UI and you started getting null reference, you had to go back to using the default. You would have had to have, otherwise you're going to get those null references because of that map lock being in there. Something got changed and it started causing null refs. So that's going to be removed so the UI can still be used, except for just a lock position. But anyway, I hope you like it. Enjoy.